I decided to go with something more innocent this time and just make myself a cup of tea. I promise it's tea. Ooh, oh, and there's lemon.
I think about you sometimes. Where would we be if you were mine? Cause I think about you sometimes. I need you back in my life.
Hello, and welcome back to my booktube channel. My name is Toby, and today we're discussing my TBR for October. So, if you watched my newbie tag, I told you guys that my October TBR was going to be spooky and all things gross. So, today I'll be listing books that I plan on reading in October. Since this is my first TBR that is broadcasted to the world, I am keeping it somewhat short so that I can actually stick to it. And I have some popular authors, and it's not just horror, stabby type books. It's a whole collection, basically. So let me stop talking and get to it, right? My introduction into the horror and not so settling books was a book by Jack Ketchum called The Girl Next Door. It's based on a true story. Please just read the book first. The book is about, the book is taken from the perspective of a boy. I think his name was like Dave or David, something like that. And kids move into the neighborhood. It's next door to this boy, and they're all friends and they all decide they're going to play together, all right? One of the younger boys touches one of the older girls' touches her breast, and she smacks him, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, girl power. But no, the aunt was very mad, and from then on the book just gets sadder and the horror sort of settles in. It was a gruesome book. By the end of it, I did have nightmares because, picturing yourself in that sort of circumstance is awful, to say the least. Just awful. But yeah, that was my introduction to horror. I liked the author. Sure, some of his writing was a little bit flat, but I liked it because he was taking something that happened in real life and sort of packaged it in a way that people would be interested in reading and would actually buy, and not just read a newspaper and read through the story. I then went on to read another book of his called Off Season, which I did not finish because that book was horrible. Like nicely packaged shit, basically. Because synopsis wise, oh my gosh, like when I read what the book was about, I was there like, what? Yeah, I want to see this guy write that type of book. Definitely. And then he just disappointed me. His characters were flat. I was getting excited every time one of them died because that meant one character I wouldn't have to read about. That's not how I want to feel about human beings. So yeah. The first book on my TBR. Let's get this kicking, man. I'm finishing 1984 by George Orwell. Hey. Okay, the reason why I'm so excited, right, is because I am finally going to finish this book. I started it, I think, 2 years ago. I was reading it as to relax and wind down, when you get into bed, because you've had so much technology, so much blue light. Here's a book, I was reading it on my phone, by the way. And then I started again when lockdown came out, like March, May. It was May. I'd finished all the series and I was lazy to download more, and I was like, hey, I still have that book. So I started again because I had no idea what had happened in it, and I got to about 32%. But the problem was I was still reading it at night. So when I started getting into the habit of reading basically all day and every day, I decided, let me start reading this book again. I haven't yet, but look at me now, right? So I decided to add it to this TBR because I've heard that it is somewhat on the spookier side. We're following this guy named Winston. He still has some sort of memory of the world before the war. So he knows that, or better yet, he thinks there's a better side to life, you know, other than the way that they're living now in like musty areas where your every movement is watched, you know. They have telescreens in their houses. Their kids are spies that could rat on you at any moment. It's all interesting, but it's also there like, how do y'all think this is normal? Because all the people there are either brainwashed or too scared to say anything, which is basically the world we live in. If you disagree, guess which side you're on. Super excited about that. Finally gonna finish it. I really hope this guy doesn't die because he's actually kind of funny. Like the way he described his wife was just like, damn. Hey, next up, we have Mr. Horror himself. Stephen King. The first book is Misery. It's about this writer, right? And he meets his biggest fan. Happy, right? Why is this in horror? Wait, she's also his nurse and she's been treating him. For what, you might ask? He's been in an accident. Sweet, right? Like his nurse is his biggest fan, right? Why is this horror? Because he's been captured and he's her prisoner. Damn. I know, right? I know, right? How do I pick? The second Stephen King book I'm reading is Salem's Lot. Now, the name, I will agree, sort of captured my attention because when you think Salem, you think Salem witch trials, right? So I'm thinking, ooh, this book got witches. Witches are creepy, you know? It's a man and a boy. They must return to Salem's Lot. Because, yeah, they must return to Salem's Lot because strange things are happening there. That's all he gives us. Next book is Shutter Island. Alright, this is by Dennis Lehane and what else? Hey man, listen. I always advocate for reading the books because there's always something that the movies leave out. Ooh. There will be a video on film versus books where I look at the books I've read and the films I've watched and I say which one is better. A mental asylum on an island. The year is 1954. Ooh, I could do this as like a thing. The year is 1954. Teddy Daniels, along with his partner, have arrived at Ashcliff Hospital on Shutter Island. They are there to investigate the strange things happening there. Patients are going missing. Experiments are being conducted on the patients, and there's a murderer on the loose. There's also a storm coming. There's a lot of tea. Ah man, I can't do it. The hospital isn't what it seems, but neither is Teddy Daniels. Dun dun dun. Okay, the next book is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This one was inspired by drunk history. They did an episode on Vlad the Impaler. I can't do the accent, but I love it so much. Alright, so it's basically about how the whole thing about vampires came about. So this book is about Count Dracula, who lives in Transylvania and he's going to England because he's in search of new blood and wants to spread the curse of the undead. I clearly can't do it, but I can't stop myself. Anyway, it's also about the battle between Dracula and his people, his boys, and a group led by Professor Abraham van Helsing, I think his name is. The next book golden hour. The next book is We Have Always Lived in a Castle by Shirley Jackson. By Shirley Jackson. I actually don't know a lot about this book. The main reason I chose it is because look at it. I mean, that's like Freaky 101, man. So this book follows Mary Cat and Constance, her older sister. They've been orphaned, I think, and they live with their uncle in a large house on large grounds. A castle. Yeah, Constance hasn't left the house in 6 years. The uncle is writing his memoirs, and then through him sort of rambling on about his life, they find out secrets about the family, which I am ready to hear. Yeah, no. High tea. I might add Wuthering Heights for no other reason other than I want a classic. It'll be on my just in case. Yeah, like just in case I finish all the books and I'm bored, I'll really do Wuthering Heights. I will let y'all know on my Instagram. Alright. The next one is Undone by Karen Slaughter. Okay. The first book I read by her was Pretty Girls because it was recommended by Kat from Paperback Dreams. My gosh. She basically gave, like, she did it justice. She was there like, it's an amazing book, read it, super gruesome. I read it, super gruesome. A lot of the scenes are described in way too much detail. Like, you can see the blood and you're just like, you know. The second book I liked because it was somewhat cleaner, it was somewhat more emotional. Because of the first one, like, I was just there like, I don't think that could happen in real life, but okay. With the second one, I was like, people are evil. People are shitty ass human beings, right? So the book I'm gonna read for October is Undone. The book before this one that I read, I know I'm confusing the fuck out of you guys. Okay, the first book I read by her was Pretty Girls. This book. All right. The second book I read was The Good Daughter. And the third book will be this one I'm reading now, which is technically the third book in a series also. So if I'm being smart, I'll probably just do the whole series. It's the Will Trent series. It's also one of the books like Wuthering Heights that I will only read once I finish all the other ones, because it's basically like this, right? I always put a book I'm super excited to read at the end of my TBR so that it forces me to read all the other books. So there's 7 books that I've also added to the TBR. It's the Will Trent series by Karen Slaughter. I mean, her surname is Slaughter. She had to. First name is Karen. I'm super excited for my October TBR again. Like, my next video will be a wrap up of September. I'm super excited. I know I always say that, but I genuinely am, because I mean, I got good book choices. I'm killing the game. I'm winning in life. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo last month, and it's a part of the late night book club. My heart. And the first book on their reading list was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That will be included in my next video. There's also a bunch of other books, as always, a bunch of thrillers and a few not so thrillery books here and there. I know I'm basically like trailering the video right now, but definitely you need to catch it. You need to watch it. It's gonna be amazing. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Amazing book recommendations in that. I had an amazing September book-wise. If you haven't watched my newbie tag, the link is right down below. You check that out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment down below what else you'd like to see. And, you know, let's keep it rolling. Let's keep this fire burning, this ball rolling, snow cascading. Boy! Until next time, my loves.